anyone who is new on my left? Hello. Yes. You look new? Yes, you. Not new, huh? See me before. I attended SGC before? Never, right? So tell us your name and how you got to know about the SGC.
I'm very negligible. I'm very negligible. I attend some Buddhism course at Provincial. Later on, I go to right here, and there. And recently, I met with my brother, Mr. Precept, in the weekend.
I see. It's Sabu.
No, Sabu. I'm along.
Good. What's your name?
My name is Yen.
Yen. Nice meeting you. How about the right side? Let me see if anyone. Is there anyone who is new? On my right? No? Okay. No chance to speak, huh? Alright, so today is the first Sunday of February. So we are back to the Bodhisattva Precepts. Can you shift this over a bit? The whole. So we are at Precept 28. Can I remember the previous lesson on the Bodhisattva Precepts? By now, some of you don't even know what this is about. Yeah. So maybe a bit of recap what this whole series is about. So sometime last year, some students very strongly requested for the Bodhisattva Precepts to be taught. But as I joke with some of them, SGC has a very interesting, what do you call it, phenomena. Occasionally, some students will come to see me, and either during SGC or after SGC, and they'll tell me, Shifu, can you teach some particular text? Some of them will request like this sutra or that teaching. So since last year we've covered different texts. One of them is the Bodhisattva Precepts. Then we also cover the Pure Land Sutra, the Avatamsaka Sutra. And then what I observe is that those who request sometimes they will attend for 1 or 2 lessons, then they stop attending. Then there are those who request and then they don't even attend. Yeah, so in the end, you all benefit. So they serve the role of asking for teachings and then they balik kampung. So what is this set of teachings? This is the Bodhisattva Precepts under the Yogacara Bhumisastra commentary. In the Chinese Mahayana tradition, there are 2 main sources of the Bodhisattva Precepts that we have. One is under the Brahmanet Sutra, Fawanjing Pusa Jiepen. The other one is Ichie Pusa Jiepen Jing. So this is under the Yogacara Bhumisastra commentary. At the time of Xuanzang Dashi, prior to him, there was already a separate text by itself on this Bodhisattva Precepts. It's called the Ichie Pusa Jiepen Jing. So this forms part of the commentary under the Bodhisattva Foundations. And sometime last year, we started covering it, and throughout this text, we have repeatedly gone through the purpose of having the Bodhisattva Precepts. Earlier on, before we touched on the Bodhisattva Precepts, we also covered the 5 precepts, we covered the 8 precepts. We may have touched on the 10 precepts. So we also went through the purpose of having precepts. Precepts fundamentally cover our bodily and verbal actions. Our bodily and verbal actions. So if you were to look at the 5 precepts, the first 4 cover the bodily and verbal actions. The first 3 are bodily actions, and the 4th one is verbal action. So what is the purpose of observing the precepts? To cover our bodily and verbal actions. In short, 防非止恶, 防非止恶, or 止恶行善. So to prevent wrongdoings, to prevent unwholesome actions, whether through the body or the speech, And why do we want to do so? We want to do so so that we do not experience painful results in future. As simple as that. And further to that, the recognition that harmful bodily and verbal actions are harmful to others. So out of compassion, we do not partake in those actions that harm others. That is true for the 4 foundational or fundamental precepts. But as we have gone through the Bodhisattva Precepts, then you realize that the notion of a precept then takes on a totally, in a way, different or higher dimension. It goes beyond simply your physical actions, your bodily actions, or your verbal actions. In many cases, it touches on your mindset, your attitude, and a lot to do with your practice on this path towards Buddhahood. So if we were to go back to the purpose of Bodhisattva path. Yeah. Then, as you recall, I cited the Avatamsaka Sutta, about how the Bodhisattva path, for anyone to attain Buddhahood, one must remember that Buddhahood is akin to the fruits of the great Bodhi tree, whose roots is none other than sentient beings. Yeah. Whose roots is none other than sentient beings. So that being the case, those who want to embark on this path have to take note of how our actions and our body, speech, and mind, how that can affect our ability to reach out to sentient beings. Yeah. So previously we've also covered why Bodhisattva path. Yeah, why Bodhisattva path. And I've shared before about how while not many of us would wake up in the morning and think, oh, I want to attain Buddhahood. Most of us have many immediate duties towards our family, towards our job, towards our friends, and so on. Yeah. We have many urgent, important goals in the short term. Yeah. Those are important, isn't it? Say yes. So, in light of that, then is the Bodhisattva path something that we are able to relate to? Yeah? Indeed, in fact, it is. And why? Because while we may not have the great aspiration at the onset to be ready to say, oh, I dedicate my whole life to all sentient beings. Yeah, but the direction is there. Yeah. Starting from our own family and friends, yeah, we care for their well-being, we're concerned about their welfare. That is the direction of the Bodhisattva. The difference between the Buddhists, those who are on the path, and most of us would be the extent. Yeah. Bodhisattva has that mindset towards all sentient beings. So last year, while answering questions about vegetarianism, yeah, about vegetarian diet, then I touched on how it is like if you have an animal activist, yeah, let's say those who are very concerned about whaling, yeah, they go to the ocean and they try to prevent those commercial whalers. So they are very concerned about whales, the welfare of whales. Now it would be ironic to then see these activists partake in sashimi. Yeah? It would be very strange, isn't it? Yeah. It would be equally strange if one day you see Louis in some parts of Southeast Asia, yeah, partaking in some out meat, some donkey meat, because Louis is a dog activist. Is it true? Yeah. All animal. For her now it's all animal.
Yeah.
She's a dog lover. She's a dog lover. So, how about a Bodhisattva? A Bodhisattva is someone who is, rightly speaking, sentient being activist. So not just for dogs, not just for cats, not just for whales, not just for some endangered white tiger, but for all beings sentient. Yeah. Whatever form of existence, be it human, animal, insects, be it those that can be seen and those that cannot be seen, be it large in nature or small in size, be it heavenly or hell realm, the Bodhisattva has their welfare in mind. So I shared about how if we look at the Bodhisattva path in this way, then a lot of the rules become very clear. Yeah? It becomes clear why in the Bodhisattva practices there's this notion of avoiding the taking of animal flesh. Yeah? So I'm not going to do a recap of all the precepts. Thanks to Jerry's and Doreen, they have been diligently doing recording. So if you wish to, you can go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then do your own revision. Otherwise, later if Buddha come and ask you, how come we never watch the YouTube? In the Buddha's time, there's no YouTube. So if the Buddha is in town, the venerables, the monks and nuns, the lay people, they will take the opportunity to go and attend to him, to listen to the teachings. But from the sutras, we can see that not all the disciples have the opportunity to always listen to his teachings. So then how do they get in touch with the teachings? Because there's no YouTube, no voice recorder. So what they have to do is they depend on fellow practitioners, fellow monks, nuns, the seniors who have heard it and committed it to memory, for them to repeat to them, for the seniors to repeat the teachings to the juniors. Then when they listen, they have to pay 101%, and then they'll commit to memory as well. Yeah. In part, this is how the recitations and chanting started. Yeah. Because without that, then you have no way to do your reflections, your contemplation. There's no way for you to do your practices. Yeah. So, in a way, they are disadvantaged back then, because they don't have an easy way to have access to the teachings. But in a way, today, while we have easy access to the teachings, but then in is it economics or psychology, there's this term about the paradox of choice. Yeah. If you go to a restaurant and you have only two main dishes to choose from, you probably find it very easy to choose. But if you go to a vegetarian stall, usually the ordering time takes a long time. Why? Because there's 20, 30, 40 dishes, all main dishes. Yeah. If you go to a chicken rice stall, very simple. Either roast chicken or white chicken. That's it. Yeah. You go to most food stall is very simple, except for Zataikyang, but there's only that many dishes as well. You go to a vegetarian stall, somehow, you can order 10 different noodles, 5 different rice, all over the place. Today, Buddhists have a similar predicament. Yeah. You go onto the web, many students have shared this dilemma with me. Yeah. They say, we want to start to learn the teachings. Now, where to start? Yeah. We now have access to all the teachings. English, Chinese. Yeah. If you want Japanese, there's Japanese scripts up there as well. But the challenge is, with access to all this, we have this impasse, get stuck. You know where to start. So, Precept 28, praising oneself or disparaging others. If a Bodhisattva out of greed or ill will praises one's merits or disparages others, this is named a transgression. Multiple transgressions is a transgression of the felt nature. So, 自赞毁他, this precept is on 自赞毁他, to praise oneself and to put down others. So, 叹己毁他戒第28。若菩萨以贪慧心，自叹毁己德，毁斥他人，是名为犯众多犯，是犯扰起。So, in a way, this is pretty straightforward. Yeah? If a person were to, first of all, praise your own qualities, and here, what kind of qualities? Your merits. That means good qualities. Yeah? Or disparages others. In some cases, instead of all, it is and. Yeah? So why is this so? Because these precepts, in some of the explanation, it goes that it is like a comparison. Yeah? To praise yourself and then you put down others to form this comparison. Yeah? Now, is there anything wrong with doing this? If you do this out of greed or ill will, then it's a problem. Yeah? Then it is a problem. When would a person do this out of greed in order to form a comparison and then to highlight and say, sort of, not directly, but to hint, we have superior qualities and the other person is inferior. Yeah? So, you know who to give ang pao to. This is considered a wrongdoing, a transgression. Why is this wrong? In a way, this precept, you don't need to be a Bodhisattva to consider that this is wrong. You shouldn't need to be a Bodhisattva to realize that this is wrong. Yeah? But here, in particular for a Bodhisattva, in particular. Yeah? Why? Because the object, yeah, the object for help, yeah, for a Bodhisattva is all sentient beings. Yes. Justin Kohler. Yeah. So, if a person were to do this, out of greed, trying to get support for oneself, and then in order to acquire much support, then praise oneself and put down others. This you are damaging another person. Yeah. Then second case would be to do it out of ill will. Yeah. Maybe we're not happy with someone, we song that person. Then we purposely, whatever the person do, we put down. This one like that, this one like that. Nothing is correct. It's hunchy. But there are exceptions to the rule. Yeah? There are exceptions to the rule. So sometimes, when we just look at the main text itself, then we may consider and we may think that, we cannot point out anybody's mistake. Then we may draw this conclusion. And in the Chinese Mahana tradition, yeah, we often have this statement, 不要造口业, right? Yeah? whenever someone point out certain something that is, let's say, wrong or some mistakes that is done, then people will say, "Oh, 不要造口业." Yeah. There are some exceptions to it. So if we look at the exceptions here, non-transgression. If one criticizes the heterodox in order to highlight and promote the Dharma. Number 2, if one uses skillful means causing the other party's defilements to be subdued, as has been said in Precept 6. Number 3, if one instills faith in the non-believer or increases and expands faith and wholesome roots in the believers. So here heterodox means those that is outside of the Noble Eightfold Path. What happened? Until what time? Until he attained enlightenment. So the first one, if one criticizes the heterodox in order to highlight and promote the Dharma. This precept is in a way very interesting for Chinese, because I do find that with or without the Buddhist culture, the Buddhist teaching, Chinese tend to feel uneasy, whenever criticism is being raised. Chinese in general. The moment that there's some criticism being raised, everybody look uneasy or look at the carpet. I don't know how much of it has to do with purely Chinese culture. Maybe it has to do with how, since young at home, we may have been exposed to this kind of culture, where when there's any conflict, then inevitably, in most family, I'm not talking about any particular family, don't take it personally, there is, maybe in some families or most families, the moment there are any conflicts, then our Chinese attitude is 万事以和为贵, cannot quarrel. Then immediately someone, usually maybe the parents or elders, will come in and step in and like just subdue the whole, not to clarify it, not to dissolve it or diffuse it, but to simply say that it's wrong to have conflict. So this precept is interesting because this is about someone actively trying to put down others. But in the Chinese culture, the moment someone try to do that, we will try to stop it. But here it's saying, in some cases, it's actually okay. Yes, come in. In some cases, it's actually okay. In what case? If, for example, there comes the conditions where there is a comparison between differing teachings, differing views, differing religion even. There's absolutely nothing wrong to state what has been stated in the teachings and to highlight the qualities of the Buddha's teaching as compared to other religions. I've encountered many Buddhists with the mindset, all religions are the same. All religions teach people to do good. How many of you agree with that statement? All religions are the same. All religions teach people to do good. We may have to turn off the video. Now, it's one thing to have this view. It's another thing when someone point out something that is, let's say, less than good in other teachings or viewpoints. Yeah. So I've witnessed online where Buddhists get very nervous whenever there's open criticism. Wow. Then immediately people will jump in and say, that's, we should not criticize, we shouldn't criticize. But if you look at many sutras, the Buddha openly criticized other schools. But he don't make personal attacks. There's a difference between stating point by point, factually, what is flawed about the reasonings in other schools. You see, from my point of view, I can see a lot of uneasiness with it. Yeah. But perhaps it's because the Buddha wasn't Chinese. Indians are very, very comfortable with having arguments. Yeah. I don't know whether that's a racist statement. But I say it with compliments because I think there's value in having healthy, critical discussion. Yeah. It's important. You cannot attain enlightenment just being nice. You cannot attain enlightenment just thinking, having a rosy, romantic idea about the world. You have to look at things very sharply, very critically. Yeah. I mean, very simply, think about it. If all religions are the same, and all religion teach us to be good, why choose Buddhism? Because our parents happen to choose it. Buddhism is a very strong religion. Want to attend Buddhahood, have to go through so many, and this is just a subset of. No, but we shouldn't be saying that, so it must be correct because we are choosing it. There are very clear reasons why, but that's for another time. Here it's saying, if you criticize the teachings outside of Buddhism, and here again, criticism is about factual criticism, not personal attack, not making personal attack. It's about saying, well, this school, for example, let's say this school states that certain thing is true, and then you illustrate clearly through parables, through metaphor, through real life example that this is false. Yeah, this is what we mean by criticism. The Buddha don't hold back on when religious persons, ascetics from other schools come to challenge him, ask him difficult questions. The key thing is you don't get upset, you don't get angry, you don't get excited. You just answer truthfully. Yeah? Where there are rooms for criticism, you don't try to be nice and then never mind, we are all the same. You don't say such things. Yeah? Number two, if one uses skillful means causing the other party's defilements to be subdued, as has been said in Precept 6. So, if you know that someone has acted in a way that is deserving of criticism, yeah, and the actions are due to defilements, yeah, whether it's a wrong way of thinking, yeah, or the kind of mental agitations, then causing that person to act in a certain way. And you know that by criticizing that person can change, yeah, or will take note, then it is okay to do so. It's okay to do so. Number three, if one instills faith in the non-believers or increases and expands faith, 令不信者信，令信者增广。This is quite straightforward. But the application may not be so straightforward. So for example, again, it's to do with it's always, when you want to come to Buddhism, it cannot be wishy-washy. Buddha is not wishy-washy. So for example, among your friends, if someone who is supposed to be a Buddhist or nominal Buddhist or even non-Buddhist make a statement, blur the line. And we may know enough to clarify, but we choose to just take the 万事以和为贵, peace, peace, harmony, harmony, don't say anything. Then what happened? The others who are not so well informed, they may walk away with the wrong view or wrong conclusion. But if you are to be able to step forward and clarify without getting upset, then others around will have, now there's an alternative view. And if you are able to clarify that, no, this is what the Buddha said, and the other school, what they said has these flaws in the arguments. Then they may then say, hey, there's something about Buddhism, huh? How many times have you encountered people come forward and make not so much about the religion, but about the teachings? And usually Buddhists around listen and then will just maybe shake their head, shrug, and then just walk off. Yeah? Buddhists have this. Sorry, today is 初几啊？初九了，初九 can give a bit of scolding. But not scolding, but to encourage Buddhists to speak up. I always tell students this. I always say this. If you don't speak up, who do you think will speak up for Buddhism? Who? At work, if you don't speak up, who will speak up for Buddhism? Shifu go to your office to speak up. If I can, I will go around whole Singapore and speak up. But there are many times, circumstances where you are the person who can speak up. It's the same as I always tell people. If it's your father, someone say something rubbish about your father, will you speak up or will you just keep quiet? You have to speak up. Correct or not? If we don't speak up, do you think others will speak up for Buddhism? Everybody 好修行哦, and 师父 also don't speak up. Everybody just keep quiet. And one day, no more Buddhism to speak about. 不犯者，若轻毁外道，称扬佛法. So this is the first case. And before you think that Sifu cook up this, you can go and read a lot of the sutras in the in one of the sutra, net of views. Yeah, in the Pali Canon, the Buddha categorically answered or questioned point by point 62 different wrong views, and that's just one of the sutra. Yeah. So the Buddha is very different from our common mindset of what a practitioner is. Or practitioner, people say anything, we just keep quiet. Recently, I just had some discussion with some students, some devotees. Most people have this mindset. Anyone criticize, if supposed cultivator keep quiet, everybody, see, 颇有修养. If the cultivator reply, doesn't matter whether heated or not heated. Once we reply, 傻了. Chinese have this very strange idea. 若以方便令彼调伏如前说. So this is the one. If through skillful means you are able to help the person become aware of his mistakes and change, then there's no transgression. 又不犯者，令不信者信，信者增广, as I have mentioned earlier. So this is Precept 28. Praising oneself or disparaging others. Now, in the context of our say day-to-day life, I'm just writing a bit. Yeah. So, in the context of our day-to-day life, I've had the privilege of learning from many individuals in my life. And I've also learning in a positive way, and I've also had the privilege of learning from individuals in the negative way. Yeah, what is the positive and what is the negative way? So this precept talk about not praising oneself and disparaging others. Let's look at the negative one first and get that out of the way. Yeah, it's very obvious. Sometimes among spouses, yeah, husband and wife, this is most damaging. If the husband and wife is in loggerheads, yeah, unhappy about something, then husband go and chocho the children, tell the children about the misgiving of the wife, and wife go and tell the kids about misgiving of the husband, of the father. You know what will happen when you do that? Most of the cases I've handled, when they do that thinking that they will win the favor of the children. They win the respect of the children by causing disrespect to the other spouse. But the end result is the children disrespect both. Inevitably, the children have little respect for both. Very strange. You would think that you buy over one side. Yeah. Sometimes, maybe in some rare cases, the children do get swayed totally. But you can imagine how detrimental to the whole family that will be. The worst case is when the spouses speak ill of the seniors. In other words, the in-laws or the parents, or worse still, or the uncle, auntie. Yeah. Again, you may think, you may think that you are just venting your frustration. But when you vent it to your children, then your children, yeah. So the positive one is, in my own experience, my uncle, my parents, they, in a way, I live a very sheltered life, Yeah. So I rarely hear them complain about other seniors. Very rarely, if ever. In particular, my uncle, he would even praise my father. Yeah. Not that my father has something to praise. Is my father here today? Well, my father has a lot of wholesome qualities. But like all unenlightened sentient beings, we have our own personal pet peeves, our own, like style of doing things, character and stuff, But so it's not easy to highlight, not highlight the shortcomings, but highlight the positive part. But to highlight the positive part. This I'm still learning myself. But I've had the opportunity to, in a way, learn from many seniors around me. Yeah, I think it gives me a very, it's not about painting a rosy image, but to encourage others to focus on the good qualities of others. You must remember, we are in samsara. Yeah, we are all in samsara. 用50步笑100步. Yeah, don't have to laugh at each other. We are all in samsara. Just as others have flaws, we also have flaws. Yeah. So how can we look at the strengths, the good qualities, the wholesome qualities of others? What's most touching? Yeah, what's most touching is when the two person may not necessarily be in good terms, but they still highlight the wholesome qualities of the other person. Oh, this really makes me look at that senior, wow, with much respect. Not in one statement raises respect for both persons. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? Bhante Dhammaratana, there was once over here. I was seated here, he was seated here, then another Venerable. It was during a retreat, and someone asked about one of the center in Thailand. And so when the student asked, then asked me to comment on. So I very factually just stated what I have reservations about. Then when it was Bhante's turn, Bhante said, that group, they are very strong in the organization. We can learn from them their organization skills. Organization skills is very good. It's not telling them, right? Yeah. But if you are wise enough, you know that, that's all they are good at. A Buddhist organization shouldn't just be known for organization skill, should be known for the Dharma. So he don't want to openly go and criticize other groups. And in commenting in this way, he also encourages us to look at the wholesome qualities of others. So while this is inside the Bodhisattva Vows, I think it is also applicable in our life. In particular, human relations. When we experience injustice, we can't help it. We want to we want to tell people about our grouses, the injustice that we have faced. So we should be mindful of that. I thought maybe I will spend a bit of time to just wrap up on the 5 precepts, because we only have the 3rd precept left. So the any questions on this precept today? If not, I will cover the 3rd precepts. We have covered 4 of the 5 precepts according to the votes that you all have given last time. So the number 3 precept, nobody voted. Every week you all recite, but nobody voted. I guess all of you are very clear on it. Kame su michachara veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. To undertake the precept to abstain from sexual misconduct. For lay people, if I give you a summary, it will be not to engage in sexual activities with individuals whom you are not supposed to. Simply put, those that you are not supposed to have sexual activity with, don't go and do it. Simple? Compound? Okay, end of class. But you, I noticed that for Chinese, whenever it comes to this precept, right, everybody like very uneasy, shy, Sifu don't talk too much. Because sexual, sexual, Buddhism talk about sexual. But it's one of the precepts. It's one of the precepts. And it's one of the fundamental precepts. In other words, this is true regardless of culture, regardless of time, that the Buddha saw that anyone who transgresses others sexually, is harming that person. if you look at the 5th precepts, taking of alcohol, although it's one of the precepts, it is not considered fundamentally harmful. So in many society, it is not a crime, it is not immoral to take alcohol. In fact, in the Chinese culture, taking alcohol is like part and parcel, you know. Yeah. Anything, 先敬你3杯再说. Yeah. 以茶代酒. Yeah. The fact that there's such a phrase, 以茶代酒, you know. Of course, please don't come and 敬我3杯, okay? Yeah. So, if you look into the Vinaya, it does go into some stipulation, but the summary of it is that it includes various individuals of different categories, and they are all the categories that you shouldn't be having sexual relations with. Yeah. As a general rule of thumb, that can be applied to all precepts, or in fact, life in general. I usually ask people not to consider the precepts as the first thing to think about. You should simply ask yourself, easier said than done, but I must still say it. Ask yourself, if I do this, can I live with it? If I do something, can I live with it? If you, after doing it, you're quite happy, does it mean it's okay? No, not yet. Then you ask yourself, can your family and friends live with that? If they know that you did it, and this is not just the 3rd precept, but all things in general. If your family and friends know that you did it, would it be okay? If they are also okay, don't be so quick to decide to go and do it, because maybe your friends and family are also, you know. Then you ask yourself, how about society at large? How about law? Is it against the law? And if all the different litmus tests is okay, then you ask yourself, is it against the precepts? And even after that, you manage to find one loophole, then you ask yourself, or not loophole, but you find one clause that says it's okay, then you ask yourself, what is the intent behind doing it? And then you should be quite safe. Then you should be quite safe. Of course, if you're a regular meditator, then the last question becomes the first question, because you'll be keenly aware of your intent. Yeah, you'll be keenly aware of your intent. Then it becomes quite clear. You don't. In many cases, you don't even have to consider the precepts. Yeah. Precepts should be almost like a last line of defense. You have to consider, and not simply, hey, precepts say never say anything, then I can do it. Because if you look at the teachings, the Buddha didn't comment a lot on people's life. Yeah, there are a lot of rules for the monastics, but not that many rules for lay people. Yeah. Buddhism is a very free religion. Yeah. Free in the sense that there's a lot of freedom. Yeah. The Buddha, the monks and nuns don't go around policing your life. Why? Because it is a religion of wisdom. Yeah? Religion of compassion and wisdom. So we should be living our life with this consideration. Yeah? Then things becomes a lot easier. Any questions? Yeah? No questions, huh? No questions? Okay, good. No questions. We'll wrap it and call it a day. Next few weeks we'll still be over here for the whole of February. Next week is 12, so for the 12th and 19th we'll still be here. On the 26th we'll be over at the City Beach Resort. There's a retreat. On the last day, we have SGC over there, so that we don't have to shuffle all over the place. All right? Okay? Put our thumbs together. 愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿得智慧真明了，
愿得智慧真明了，
不愿罪障悉消除，
不愿罪障悉消除，
世世常行菩萨道。
世世常行菩